You know, the Shakespearean play Hamlet was set in Denmark, and you know the famous line "There's something rotten in Denmark" was from Shakespeare, and to be or not to be and all that. But anyhow, Denmark has been a very strong ally of the United States in the international war on terror. It is fighting alongside our country in Afghanistan. But when it comes to the threat of radical Islam within its own borders, there is something rotten in Denmark. Dale Hurd has the story.
Denmark's Muslims marching under a banner that says Islam is peace and love. But elements of Denmark's Muslim community have radicalized. On this same spot in 2009, a pro-Israel demonstration was met with Hitler salutes from Muslims. There were shouts in Arabic of Takbir, or conquest, and kill the Jews. Americans may think of Denmark as the tough nation that stood up to Islam over the Mohammed cartoons, but Denmark is infected with some of the same multiculturalism that's been declared a failure in other European nations, because it can foster Muslim radicalism. Now Copenhagen city government is allowing construction of a grand mosque project, which will be funded in part by the radical regime in Iran. Iranian refugees to Denmark who fled the Islamic radicalism in Iran now face the nightmare of that radicalism following them here in Copenhagen. This is one of many demonstrations that have been held against the Iranian-backed mosque by an organization called Free Iran.
It's not really a mosque, it's more like a barracks.
Lars Hedegaard is an Islamic expert and president of the International Free Press Society.
It's going to be an institution that will terrorize not only Danes, but primarily non-obedient Iranians.
And the mosque project is to some a symbol of growing Islamic radicalism in Denmark. The Danish media is already reporting that Christians and Jews are fleeing some neighborhoods because of violence from Muslims. We visited a Danish pastor from Iran who had to go underground because of violence and threats from Muslims.
Some people are not happy to see how God is working. And my first car, they stole it and they burned it.
Another of Pastor Masoud Farazanda's cars was vandalized. He's the pastor of the Church of Love, which has seen many Muslims become Christian and made local Muslim imams very angry. He said he's given his fear to God.
Today I can be afraid, but I don't live in fear. Because I have someone, I have Jesus Christ I know he has promised me.
Even the famous Christian author Hans Christian Nierskov, who's written 43 books including Mission Possible, told us he's been attacked 4 times in the last 6 years by Danish Muslims. The last time was after he held a hearing on Iran in the Danish parliament.
2 weeks later, a young Iranian man came and knocked me down here, and 1 week later, another man came and knocked me down. Another one came with a knife, and he rang my doorbell and said, "I'm from Lebanon. I was taught by Hezbollah, and I came here to kill you." And
Hans Christian talked the young man out of murdering him. And while some Christians and Jews live in fear for their physical safety because of Muslim violence, in Denmark you'd better not insult Islam or you could be charged for hate speech. Lars Hedegaard was charged with racism under Denmark's hate speech law, then acquitted on a technicality. But prosecutors appealed, and Hedegaard could be found guilty by a higher court next week. His alleged crime? Hedegaard simply stated a statistical fact about the high incidence of sexual violence against Muslim girls. But under Denmark's hate speech law, it doesn't matter if what you said about Islam is true.
It doesn't matter. It specifically does not matter whether what you say is true or false, or can substantiate it. The only thing that matters, according to 266b and the jurisprudence surrounding it, is whether or not somebody feels offended by what you say.
But prosecutors have never charged Danish imams for saying those who leave Islam must be killed, or that immoral women must be stoned, or that Sharia is better than democracy. Denmark's approach to Islam is a confusing series of contradictions, defending the Mohammed cartoons while charging its citizens for speaking the truth about Islam, and allowing the building of what many believe will be a dangerous radical mosque.